Welcome to the Dear Son Podcast, episode 9. I am excited this week as I have been for the past few weeks, and I'm not going to bore you. I want to get right to it. I have a guest today, but first I got to give you a few descriptors about my guest, right? We got a visionary on the podcast today. We have a philanthropist on the podcast today. We have an entrepreneur on the podcast today. We have a devoted husband on the podcast today, a loving father, brother, son, and son of the Most High. Welcome, Tracey Parker, to the Dear Son Podcast. Tracey, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great, bro, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Pleasure and the honor on my side, man. How you doing? I always want to make sure the guests got, are in the right mind frame. How's your mind frame today? How you feeling, man? Honestly,
man, I'm feeling blessed, man. I'm on the opposite side of the tunnel today. You know what I'm saying? The eternal rest tunnel. So, I'm doing
okay.
I'm doing great, man. I can't complain at all.
Okay. Well, first I want to help the guests get oriented to who you are. We want to start with your fatherhood story. So if you could kind of take us back to, the dynamics in your home, brothers and sisters. What was your early life like? Was your father around? And then kind of bring us up really quickly to, your situation today. You're married, how many kids you have. So I'll give you some time to kind of break that down for the people.
Right. Thank you, man. I definitely appreciate it, man. First of all, I want to thank you for, and I'm honored, man, to be on your podcast, bro, man. It's been a long time coming, man. We've been
Absolutely.
talking and, I'm excited. I'm truly, truly excited, man. I was waiting for the call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was definitely appreciate it. But, my story, man, it was a hard story, but growing up, without your mom, without your dad, raised by your grandparents,
Okay.
living through almost living through like a hell on the inside, but, always just had dreams of basically, what I wanted out of life.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I just lived in my dreams. So that helped create my creative side.
Yeah.
Never really had an actual father there.
Okay.
But I've been blessed to live in an area where I saw some great dads.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I was able to, some of the fatherhood things that I was looking for, I was able to get from some of my homeboys, their fathers or my homegirls' fathers or
So
even my peers.
There was a village kind of created around that void.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And even my peers, man, we policed each other and stuff like that. So we was father figures to each other as well.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, and that leads me to what I'm saying, my drive to being the best father I can be, the best husband I can be, the best leader I can be, because I was always taught that a leader sacrifices and he be there or she be there and no excuses, no time off, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I adapted that, into my life, and it got me to the point where this Thursday, October 28th, I'll be married 21 years.
Man, that's a celebration. Clap it up, folks. Clap it up, clap it up. 21 years.
21 years, man. We've been together, me and my queen, Joy. We've been together 27 years. We have 3 kids.
Okay.
I have a grandson now.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. I have a grandson now.
What's your grandson's name?
Aiden, man.
Salute to Aiden.
Yes.
Aiden got you smiling different, man. Got you smiling different. You cheesing all day on the Facebook and the gram.
Yeah, man. I can't help it, man. I love it, man. I just love to be that part of that influence, you know what I'm saying, with him and my son. And so we can, we create more little leaders and extend our legacy, man. You know what I'm saying, extend the Parker name.
So we're definitely going to get into your leadership, your visionary, your goals and aspirations that you're actively pursuing. This is not a list on a wall. I really see you doing the work, building these things. And I'm sure there are things that I don't know about. What was life like with your grandparents and kind of a combination? At what point did you realize or did you actually fill a void with not having that, I guess, being raised by your mother, your birth mother and father? At what point did you recognize that, this is this is kind of different. I'm missing something. Or did you ever feel like you were missing anything because your grandparents just gave you everything that you needed?
Well, I always felt like I was missing something when I go to somebody's house and I hear them say mom and it's their real mom.
Yeah.
Or you hear them say dad, it's their real dad. Or just like when I played football in high school, I played quarterback and I stayed in the paper, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I did my thing. And just knowing that a lot of people cheering for you, but it's it's not your blood, it's not your father that you always wanted to be there for you, or your mother. I mean, my mother, she was in and out of jail a lot of her life. And, but I tell you, man, over the last several years of her life, man, she just changed and a lot of things that I was missing from when I was a child. And then my grandmother was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She taught me the value of a true queen. Mm-hmm. And that's why I put so much back into my queen and showing my daughter how a man's supposed to treat a queen and show her a value. But my grandma really taught me that. And Mama Lee taught me that. I was always surrounded by a lot of women.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of men.
What were some of those lessons like? Because you definitely, like I said, I'm gonna keep harping on the values that you demonstrate that I see from afar. I know you, but we're not in the same city. We're not connecting every day. But just what I see from afar, I see the values being displayed. What were some of those life lessons that the women kind of poured into you?
Man, just hearing I love you. My grandmother, she grew up in a hard life as well. Without getting too many details, but back in the day, it's hard to tell people that you love them. So when you grow up in a house and you don't hear it, but they show it.
Right.
My grandmother was a grinder, man. She was a grinder, and she sacrificed so much. So I got the sacrifice from her.
Okay.
I got one of the lessons that if you have to give, then you should give.
Right.
Unconditionally, it shouldn't be a reason why you give.
Right.
If somebody needs something, you do it for them. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't be looking for anything in return. Like I said, like with Mama Lee, just the value of love and then that discipline, like when me and my wife first got together and I was all distraught because I didn't go and play college football. Turned down some schools that I probably should have went to because I didn't get the school that I wanted to go to or whatever. And just feeling sorry for myself, man. And she ended up taking me in when I was like 17 because I was homeless. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people didn't know that. I wasn't homeless long, but I was homeless. I didn't know what I was going to be that next morning or whatever, or that night. And when she took me in, she just showed me so much love and she just invited me. And like, you would have thought that I was her own. And one of the things that she taught me when I was still feeling sorry for myself after I graduated high school and went in the military or whatever, reserves. When I met my wife, I fell in love with my wife, man, almost instantly. I ain't tell her that right away. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Sure you did.
Right. But I fell in love with her almost instantly, man. And she taught me, she said, if you really love her and you really care about her, you got to do the things that you're supposed to do to take care of your woman. And from that day, I promise you, bro, from that day forward, and I never looked back. I was just on my grind. I just wanted, because my wife never asked for anything. She just wanted me. And I wasn't used to that. You know what I'm saying? I'm always used to somebody always wanting something from you. You got to give, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. And she never really wanted anything from me but me. Yeah. And that just motivated me to want to do more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How did you overcome that part of not understanding that somebody could really want you just for you, to love you unconditionally? What was that process like? Was it, was it a long time? Did you recognize it fairly quickly, early on? At what point did you accept that, this is my queen. She really loves me for me? Because anytime you talk about your wife, the name comes up, man, your eyes light up. Look at you. Like, how did you work through that part of it? Cause yeah, you know, you came from a very challenged upbringing
Right.
and it's understandable to be that way. How did you work through that?
It was God, man. I tell you, man, it was nothing but God. It wasn't me at all. Cause I still don't be feeling like I'm worthy enough to have her. You know what I mean?
I know that
I'm
feeling.
just blessed.
Yeah.
It was nothing but God, man. I tell you, man, when I knew God, we didn't really go to church, growing up in my house, but we knew of God.
Sure.
And
those are two different things. I want to be clear to the audience.
Right.
Going to church doesn't mean you know God.
Right.
Knowing God doesn't mean you go to church. So
right. And went to church with her, man, and I felt comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt really, really comfortable with her. The first church that I ever went to more than once.
Yeah.
That was her church, man. I felt so comfortable, and her grandmother was like just like a pure lady. You know what I'm saying? Not taking anything away from her mom or anything, but her grandma was just a pure lady, man. And like I was in church one day and I had some gum in my mouth and I'm chewing the gum because I'm nervous, right?
Uh-huh.
And she just looked at me. And I knew to stop chewing that gum, man. And I looked at my queen and she looked at me like she don't know what's going on. But it was funny, man. So when she really helped me get closer to God.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I said, knowing God and being present in his life, you know what I'm saying, on an everyday basis.
Yeah.
Is a little different. Because you know he always in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That is a very, I never heard it put that way. Right. God does want you to be in his life.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
So that was the pivotal shift of she helped you reconnect or connect on a deeper level and really develop a relationship with God for yourself. Because one thing that I know, I was in church. My parents were, we were in church a lot, right? And I recognized what it was to serve, to be in church and to serve. But as I got older, I realized I really didn't have a relationship with God. So I was going through the motions, and it was more of a tradition than me actually knowing and understanding. But at this stage of my life, I like you, perhaps later in life realize that God is the greatest, man. Like that's where it starts. That's where it ends. Like we're nothing, right? We can take on the task as he allows and empowers us, but that's the end all be all for me.
Right, man. Because he allowed you to say, you know what? Your mistakes were just a mistake. It was just like a stepping stone to where you need to be.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to hold you obligated to that circumstance or that situation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I already know where you're going and who you're supposed to be. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It'd probably scare us if he showed us the roadmap, right?
Right.
So he has to do it incrementally.
Right.
I want to go back to like how did you develop as a man, being reared, being poured into by primarily women throughout your life? What were the influential people in your life that helped you understand manhood, or was that a journey that you traveled alone?
It was almost a journey that I traveled alone, man, as far as an adult. Other than my basketball coach, Coach Henderson, man, he's still like a dad to me. And I remember one time I was playing football, and me and our head coach, we just wasn't getting along.
Mm-hmm.
And I never quit at anything. I believe that you don't quit at anything, because once you open up that door, it's easy to do it over and over. Didn't believe in quitting. But he had me so frustrated, man, because he wouldn't talk. And I'm a very inquisitive person. So that means if you're going to tell me, okay, this route tree is for this, explain to me why.
Right.
So I can get a better understanding, so I can be a better quarterback and a better person if I know why. But he would never talk to me. And I was so mad I was going to quit. And we won the game. I still was going to quit. And Coach Henderson just pulled me to the side and he dug in me, man. But he didn't dig into me to to beat me down.
Sure.
He dug into me to build me up. And it wasn't constructive criticism, because I think that criticism is still criticism. I think that we hide behind the words constructive criticism. I just believe in, I believe in just being constructive.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Constructive growth. And that's what he poured into me, man. And then I had our peers, man, like my older brother, Rocky. You know what I'm saying? He was always there for me. And that's my dude. We go through it, but that's still my dude.
Yeah.
Then I had my brother Dean, Mike Faison, Greg Ruff. I had my whole village, man. You know what I mean? And and then just always wanting a dad, man. Looking at it on TV, looking at the great fathers on TV, the Bill Cosby on TV, and the James Evans on TV, and even Red Fox on TV. Because even though he had his unique way, but you just saw so much love that he had for his son and stuff like that. So, like I said, I used to live in a fantasy world in my own head to help me get by.
Wow.
So I took those same things, and then once I learned God, you know what I'm saying, learned that, hey, I'm his son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
how much of the void frustrates you and how much of it fuels you? You were very good in sports, where you mentioned being in the paper, but it was kind of, that light was kind of dimmed, or it wasn't so exciting because the people you wanted to read weren't reading it. How much of that was, I'm going to show them, I'm going to prove to the world that I can still do it? Did that play a part, or was there any frustration or resentment that you carried, and it just became fuel for you to be great at sports, you to be great at life, to do more things, to give back more?
Right. Yeah, it was frustrating, man. I'm not gonna lie. It was frustrating at a young age, but then it wasn't frustrating anymore. Simply because, like I said, it turned from frustration to me adding to my competitive side.
Gotcha.
It really pushed me. It gave me a drive, man.
Yeah.
An unexplainable drive, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where that, I felt like I can do anything. I don't have to be great at everything, but I got to be able to do everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be the one who don't know.
Yeah.
And even further, man, not even just they didn't come to my football game. Man, I graduated high school and hit one of the loudest ovations at the Coliseum, and knowing that not one person there was related to me, it was a little surreal, bro. So
wow,
yeah, not one, and understanding that people who I really cared about or dreamed about missed out on a lot of important times in my life that supposed to be shared.
Yeah.
But I don't resent that. I'm not upset about it anymore, because you never know what a person was going through.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You never know what a person was going through. I just know that I'm not going to miss those moments for my kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then not only just my kids, the kids in our village, because I don't want any kids growing up feeling like I did growing up and missing out on the things that I felt like I missed out on. Now, I can't replace their father. Right. But I can be a strong figure, and hopefully I can motivate more people to be strong male figures, and hope it become contagious, if that makes sense.
You know what I found in these conversations, like I had a conversation with my father, just a real open dialogue about our perspective of each other, and that was enlightening. But the more I have these conversations with other people, with other men, it's clear that there was a generation of non-communicators. Right. So if you don't have anybody communicating with you, and I was thinking about what you said about your coach, he didn't communicate with you. He was probably from that era where, he was first generation after the generation that didn't talk at all. Right. They just provide, sit down, be in a child's place. Like that was my dad. And he tried to catch things and be aware of things and adjust with me. But, he didn't get it perfect. And that's not the point, right? To get it perfect. But just how the generations, hopefully get better. But, there's that part where, if you don't have somebody to communicate with you, that's one thing. But if you don't have an example, like my father didn't talk a lot, but I could see some things, right? So if you're missing both of those references, it can present some real challenges. How do you use your life story to parent, to be a husband? How do you navigate through all of that? And what do you pour into your family? What things are important, like in terms of core and family values that you've established, because it wasn't necessarily, you didn't see that dynamic, but like what things are important and mandatory in your family in terms of values?
Well, first of all, we got God in our house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we wake up, first thing we say, simple prayer. Thank you, God, for waking us up.
Absolutely.
This morning. If we don't get to see each other, we text it to each other. But we have to say it. And we don't exit each other without telling each other that we love them. Because that was something I always wanted to hear every day, all day, those I love you words.
Right.
Right. So I make sure that we do that every single day. My kids can just push my button, but I'm not going to miss out on the opportunity to tell them that I love them.
Sure.
And, they act like it's a little weird when they'll tell me and my wife, my queen, like it ain't nothing, but it's hard for them. It seems like it's weird to tell each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we still working on that. You know what I'm saying?
I actually learned to say, I love you every day to another man for my son.
Right.
Because it was important to him. And I just kind of looked up one day, like, where did he get that from? Because it wasn't like me and my father say it now, but that's after I'm 42. You know what I'm saying? My dad will be 73 in a couple weeks. Like it's after some time where we're looking back and actually had a chance to say, oh, we missed this. But everybody doesn't get that chance. Not, for him, he'd get out the car and say it. If he didn't hear it back, he's not moving. He's like, hey, Dad, yeah, I love you. And it made me more aware. So I'm more open. And I say it to my boys, we say it. But to some people, I say it and it catches them off guard. Like, wait, you love me? Yes. This is an opportunity. I don't know that we're going to have this opportunity again. And I don't want to live with that. Right.
Right.
What, you caught me off guard with the homeless, bit. Cause I definitely wasn't aware of that.
Right.
What were some of those hard times, those dark days like? And the reason I'm asking you is because I know you're an advocate for mental health. Right. And I wonder what those days played into your advocacy. Did you struggle with it? Did you get help? How were those times for you? How did you power through?
Well, I wasn't even homeless for I was homeless for some hours.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay.
But that was some dreadful hours because it took one of my homeboys to see me just standing on the street to leave from where I was at and to run all the way home. He ran all the way home, told his mom, and she said, tell him to come on down here. So I was still kind of embarrassed. So one of my friends lived across the street from my old house. So I took my dresser and we lifted up and put it in his garage. So I went down the street to Mama Lee house, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll be there and everything, but I wouldn't bring my stuff because I'm like, yo, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here. You know what I mean? And
was that pride or was that you honestly didn't know?
I just didn't know. It wasn't even pride. It was just I didn't know. And so I go down. I was scared to even wash my clothes. So I just take my clothes and take them back down to his garage and then get some fresh clothes and bring them back. But after a while, you're going to run out of fresh clothes. So you got to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But as far as getting help, I can't honestly say I still feel like I do need that help. Mm-hmm. Even being an advocate.
I do too.
Right.
I do too. Yeah.
Right. Even being an advocate, on the outside, people look at us as strong because we always fighting for others and stuff like that and different causes. But it's just more that's put on us. Mm-hmm. It's not something that wasn't put on me that I didn't ask for, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I asked God for this. You know what I mean?
Why?
But you said why?
Why was this important? Not why did you ask God for this thing? I understand consulting God and asking for what you need, but what was it about it that, like the why? Why do you want to be such an advocate for so many things?
Man, growing up the way I did, bruh, And then losing my mom to domestic violence, to a person that said he loved her. And it was just like, okay, it can't end like this. Her legacy couldn't end like that. My grandmother's legacy couldn't end like that. My last name, Parker, couldn't end like that.
Right.
So like I said, I always been a mentor, but I thought that, okay, it needed to go to a whole nother level. You know what I mean? And to be able to start my nonprofit with my daughter, another woman, young lady.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Was just perfect. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when I leave it, I always wanted to know that when I left this earth, I made a difference in somebody's life. Right. I think that where we operate in life sometimes is that we avoid other people's situations. Not so much as avoid them. We avoid other people's situations because it's not something that you feel like it influenced your life for the better, because the lack of knowledge will do that. Right. So I believe that the more knowledge that we have of different situations, the more of a help that we can actually be. You know, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's why, and I never believed in operating inside of a box. I always operate outside the box. Yeah. I don't like those type of restraints. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't want to start a nonprofit organization and just be locked in on one thing in our village when our village needs so much. Yeah. And village is so important to me because, like I was telling you, that's where I am right now. Right. It took a village to help me get to the point where I'm at. So how can I teach somebody something that I didn't go through or I didn't experience? I experienced a village saving me. So why wouldn't I try to promote village atmosphere? And we get away from that. And you made a point. And we was talking about communication. And me and you've been talking, you know what I'm saying, a lot more lately. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we're doing like some of the same things, similar things. And we're doing we're the Parkers or whatever. Yep. And one of the things behind it is bringing it back to the table, because back in the day, bro, you might not solve all of your problems. Yeah. But you was aware of the problems at the dinner table. Over some food.
For sure. Right. And I admittedly have lost that discipline where it's mandatory for us to sit down and eat. Right. There's some weeks where we don't do it. And I feel part of me feels guilty. The other part feels like I'm facilitating, like I'm being a cool dad. And I mentioned that in other episodes why I kind of struggle with picking my points when cool is acceptable and when you have to enforce some ground rules. Right. One thing, I'll come back to that. You have 3 kids. How old are they?
I got a 22-year-old, that's my oldest son, Elijah. Isaiah's my youngest son. He's 19. And Noelle, she'll be 16 next month.
And that's the co-founder of the nonprofit.
Yeah.
My daughter. How proud are you of your kids, man? Because your eyes are sparkling right now. Right. What do they mean to you?
Man, they mean everything to me, man. I feel accomplished, man. You know what I mean? Like, I get to do the things that I always wanted for myself. I get to do it for them. And for it to be appreciated, it means a lot. You know what I mean? Of course, you have those situations with your kids, because I'm not always going to be right. I've only been a father for 22 years. Right. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot can be done in 22 years, and then not that much can be done in 22 years. Yeah. But I'm proud of them, because I'll tell you this, like with my oldest son, right? I spent more time with him growing up, trying to get him to do what I thought he should do and not listen, right? Then reality hit when you found out that the things that he's really good at, you knew nothing about because you wasn't listening. Yeah. And then to find out that he's not only good at it, he's great at it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Then to find the same thing about my son, my other son, I said, I can't make that mistake again with my daughter.
Yeah.
But I got to make up for it with my sons. You know what I mean? And it's amazing, man.
At what point in life did you come to that realization where you needed to be and listen more than providing him direction based on what you thought was important? When did you start like actually listening to, oh, let me hear him out?
Right, man. What I learned is that children would follow your example before they listen to your words. You know what I mean? So you'll spend more time trying to give them advice when they really just need to see your example. They do need to hear a voice of reasoning.
Yeah.
But as far as when I realized that, man, I said we go back about maybe about 4 years ago.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
He's 21 now, so that's what, 17? 22, 17, 18.
Yeah.
Very critical time.
Yeah.
How important is it, like, as you realize that with your oldest son, catch yourself before, you know, as you're raising your next two, how important is it for you to give them explanations and context around why the rules are the rules, why you're saying what you're saying, why you demand so much of them? And I'll again come clean. I've been having these expectations of my children, but this is about their son. So I focus on my oldest son. He's 14. Having these expectations of him, but I haven't really been communicating them because I think he should just know these things because that's what I did when I was a child.
Right.
And I realized, like, you know, he kind of called me to the carpet. Was like, Dad, I don't get why you're on me like this. And I explained it to him. You know, it was emotional for all of us. And at the end, he said, thank you. Right. I didn't know that. And I was like,
right.
Because I come from a stand a child's place. And I know some of these themes are repetitive, but I mean, that's like, seems to be a theme throughout, you know, all of my conversations with other people is I didn't grow up questioning or really having the right to an explanation. So how open are you with your kids and explaining, hey, this is where I come from. This is my perspective. Here's the why, and let's talk about it.
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm very open. I try to be very transparent. I take my whole life as my testimony. And being married, man, me and my wife went through so much. And when we realized that life is just a bunch of, the way we look at it, man, it's like life is a bunch of storms, right? But every storm, it'll come, but it'll pass. Yeah. So we know that long as we weather that storm, you know what I'm saying, we're going to be all right? Yeah. So being able to be a husband allowed me to be a better man, which allowed me to be a better father. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when you have that person that you can confide in, you can trust, it allows you to have weak moments. Yeah. Which allows you to be more transparent. So, and I need my sons to understand that it's all right to be weak. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? At moments.
It's part of life.
You can be transparent. You know what I'm saying? You can be honest. Everybody not going to agree with your honesty, but as long as you're comfortable with your honesty, you're going to be all right. So I try to be as honest with them, as honest as I can be with them. And I always taught them your word mean everything. Yeah. So when you put your name on it, you stick to it. Yeah. And we got a thing around here when we say, do you promise? If you promise, that means that's your stamp. You know what I mean? And allow us to have so much of a better relationship. And I'm like you, when you say you kind of struggle with the time being a cool dad or the disciplinarian or just the brute of a father, man. I go through those moments. And but when they know when it's time for me to be that dude, just like your kids know when it's time for you to be dad, they know what it means when you.
Which kid is the most like you? Or what traits do you see in each kid that you say, that's me?
As far as my daughter, Noelle, her giving trait, man, she would give you everything.
Okay.
I mean, I don't care. Like, I don't care what she have to do or what she save her money for or whatever. If she see a person in need, she'll give them all of it.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, okay, well, I know you did that, but don't give them all of it. But if she do, I try to double it up, but put it directly in her account because she got cash. She gonna give it away.
Right.
Just her, the way she cares, man. It's just a beautiful thing. Like my youngest son, Isaiah, that dude's smart, bruh. He's smart, man, and he cares too. He's emotional dude. But he tried to hide a lot of it in him. You know what I'm saying? And but he cares a lot. He cares, man. He cares unconditionally. And then my oldest son, when you talking about smart, bruh. But see, one of the things that he got that reminds me of me is that when you can do something, but you don't operate to your full potential of it, just because you know that you can do it. He had got that from me. And I used to get so frustrated until I started looking at myself. I said, dude, I used to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, but he's so intelligent, man. And, but he's headstrong.
Okay.
He's very headstrong. And that's a trait that he get from me too. You know, so.
What does joy mean to you?
Man, that's my everything, man.
Say more.
I mean, I'm like, yo, she introduced me to a whole new life, man.
Yeah.
A love, man. Like, I became a better man because of her. And I don't have a problem telling her that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I've been the best man all my life. She know I'm not perfect.
That's not the point. Yeah.
Right. But neither one of us is perfect, but we perfect for each other.
I get that.
Makes sense.
I completely get that, especially at this stage. So I have insight to you, right? I didn't meet you last week or last year.
Right.
I know you for a while.
Right.
You're a dreamer.
Right.
Big dreamer, right? And nothing seems impossible with you. Right. Is your wife that way too? One question. And if she's not, does she support your dreams?
My wife is not a big dreamer. My wife is, she's more solid on things.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not as big of a risk taker on certain things.
Yeah.
But as far as supporting me, yeah, she supports, bruh. Like, it's just like, I would say like over the last 5 years, it's been even more. And then over the last year or two, it's been way more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I saw a growth pattern, but that was something I didn't look at it. For a while, I was looking at it like, why you not supporting what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Like, why you really not into it?
Yeah.
And then I had to look back and say, that was because of the things that I've done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as I got better, her support got stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And now when she look at me, like, we still goofy, man, when I could just say something stupid ain't even funny. And she just laugh.
Yeah.
And we got
that connection, man.
Right. Proud. Yes.
My wife and I just had a conversation about me quitting my job, right? Because that's the ultimate. And that's, again, this is not tomorrow. This is not next year, but eventually having some financial freedom, having time freedom, right? And that's the biggest thing, right? Being able to control my 24.
Right.
And we revisited it in our other podcast.
Right.
And I had to take inventory of myself, kind of like you, there's a reference to me quitting my job before and it didn't work out. Right. So me saying it now, and if she's not on board immediately, I can't go to, she doesn't believe me. No, she has history, right? And you can't disregard history. You can overcome it. You can give another chance, but history is history. And I just had to take an inventory like, hey, what does it look like for you to feel confident and safe with me pursuing this dream? Right. And we have more to discuss on that conversation to really figure it out. And I realized I had really been all dream. No I had a plan that I was working, but I hadn't communicated it, hadn't gotten buy-in so that she could be comfortable. So when I'm saying these things, I'm already believing in it.
Right.
I'm already in. And then if she doesn't react like me, now I'm thinking, oh, she's hating or she doesn't believe in my dreams. But, I don't know. So for some men that, may have that perspective, check yourself, right? You got to make sure that you're bringing to the table, that you're bringing some sense of peace and stability, which I wasn't communicating at all, man.
Right.
I want to talk about, let's pick one of your passions, right? You have several passion projects. Let's pick one and kind of educate the people on what you're doing, why you're an advocate. I can pick one for you. You can pick your own.
I'll let you go ahead and pick because I don't mind. I'll let you pick.
I want to understand your connection with autism. Number one, because I don't see a lot of Black men addressing children with needs. And I don't know if that's where it stemmed from, but you always hear kind of the one, at least me, and I don't know the degree of accuracy, but from my perspective, you always see the care from a woman because they're nurturing. But what is you champion it? What is your connection with that cause?
Man, when I started the friendship lottery, it was I didn't even know the way it was going. I was just letting God talk to me, and he was talking to me while me and Noelle was doing our live, and he told me it's going to be called the friendship lottery. He told me this, he told me that, and I'm still not understanding at that point. And I had a cousin, not a blood cousin. After I started the friendship lottery, and then I started the page, and everybody was joining the page, and everybody saw what we was doing because we started with a village movement. And when you start with a village movement, it got people comfortable with sharing some of the things they were going through.
Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine / cousin. She hit me up. She was going through it, man. Like her son was a runner. If anybody know what that is, when you're dealing with autism or you're just dealing with the spectrum in general, and your child will actually leave your house. Wow. You gotta it's hard to get sleep, bro. Like you can't sleep.
Yeah.
Like I don't have anybody in my blood, on my blood side of the family that has autism.
Okay.
But it was a need in our community, and just listening to everything that she was going through, man. We close our eye to people's differences. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
And I started to realize when me and her was talking, I woke up around I'm not gonna lie, bro. I woke up around like 3:30 in the morning. My stomach was hurting. So I go in the bathroom, whatever. And I just take my phone there. I'm get on Facebook, just looking. And she was up. And she's hit me up. She said, "Hey, cuz." I said, "What's up, cuz?" And she just said, "Can I just vent to you? I just want to vent." I said, "Okay, cool." Then she was telling me about her son, everything she was going through. Her truck broke down, and it was hard to get her son to the places where he needed to be or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, we had just started the friendship lottery about maybe a month or two, prior.
Right.
And I said, well, if you allow me to, I said, I won't put your name out there. I said, let me ask the village for some help.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't know. I said, I won't put your name out there. I said, do you trust me? She said, yeah. I said, okay, I got you. So I put it out there, man, and so many people responded to help her, right? So I go to work, and I'm just feeling good because I'm like, okay, I feel accomplished. Like the village, it wasn't about what I did. It was that the village came together, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm at work, and I'm talking, and kind of realize one of my coworkers, his son has autism. We never had the conversation. Then people who I went to school with, they hit me in the inbox. I ain't supposed to be on my phone at work, but people hitting me up because they trying to help my cousin.
Yeah.
They child had autism. And I'm like, wow. Like you never know, like when you start thinking about the rate of autism, it's like it's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's a part of life that we didn't know about because we closed our eyes to it.
Because it didn't hit home. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they struggle with so much because the lack of help, the lack of resources, the lack of knowledge. It was so sad to me, man, because I felt like when I was growing up, the lack of resources, the lack of help, lack of knowledge of where to go get help, who's willing to listen to me or whatever. Like you said, hit home.
Yeah.
And I said, man, we got to do something.
Yeah.
We got to do something, man. So I invited somebody. I had an open invite out to a little venue. And I said, if anybody want to come, help me create something so we can raise awareness for autism.
Mm-hmm.
Just meet me here on such date. You know, Noelle was there, Joe was there. You know what I'm saying? Noelle's godmother, Donna, she let us use her facility, her venue. And then girl named Verdell came, girl named Keisha came.
People just supported.
They did, man. Kim came and see, like, I'm a very creative person, man. And so when you think of kids with autism, they are so intelligent, man.
Right.
Like, what you think they can't do, they think on a whole different level. And you know the great thing about them? I never seen a child on the spectrum that's a racist. I never seen a child on the spectrum that didn't show pure love. And they expected that type of love. So when you go back to like my childhood, those are the things that I've been wanting.
It resonated with you.
Right. It resonates, man. And so we end up, like I said, so my creative side, like I said, I actually had to, you always, when you look at a child that's on the spectrum, you always want to wonder what's going on inside of their head, right?
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I had to live inside my head just to get through my everydays from childhood all the way up. And I still do it, right? I'm dreaming right now while we're talking.
You had to create your reality just to get through.
Right. And so I created this thing called Autism Crush Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
And I said, what can I do with this? Right. I created Autism Crush Festival for like 30 minutes. You know what I mean? About 30 minutes, maybe an hour at the most, but I don't think it was a full hour. And I said, but how can I get the village to be a part of it? Right. And I believe in multi-purpose and multi-focus.
Okay.
I believe that we can come together for a certain cause, for one cause, but it don't got to just be that one cause. We can focus. That can be the main focus.
Gotcha.
But we can do so much more if we try to understand each other. So what I did was I took a lot of the things out of our community that everybody liked. Music, cars, food, games. So I said, you know what? I'm going to create an event. So I reached out to people and I had people wanting to come and perform. We reached out to car clubs. They came out, reached out to vendors and friends. They came out and we created this thing called Autism Crush Festival.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And it just took off from there and everybody came up with a call. But everything that I do, like with our nonprofit, 100% come in, go out.
Yeah.
Right. And people ask me, well, how do your nonprofit survive, man? It's God.
Right.
I think that your word mean everything and your transparency complements your word.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I look at it like, you know, dude, I'm not a lazy dude. I need somebody to go out there and work for it.
Yeah.
Right. If I really, really want something, I go out there and work hard for it. But that's what I've done all my life. I don't ask people for anything. So it's kind of hard. At one point, it was kind of hard to ask people to support, but I saw the bigger picture. You know what I mean?
It's a gift and a curse, man. Because I that what you're saying is hitting home for me because I don't like to ask for help.
Right.
Like I like things to be a certain way.
Right.
I really think I can do anything, and that's part of it, right? So if people aren't showing the level of urgency or energy that I'm looking for, okay, I'll just move along.
Right.
But what happens to people like us, you get drained.
Right.
So I'm curious as to how do you recharge, and how do you take care of you? Or who takes care of you?
That recharge, man, it's like, man, I got a whole team, right?
Okay.
I got a whole team with the Friendship Lottery, and they're amazing, man. From my VP all the way down to my secretary, everybody. And they try to force me to wind it down. Tracey, you can't save the world in one day.
Yeah.
I'm like, why you can't? You know what I mean?
Too.
Because you're not guaranteed to be here tomorrow. So I got a lot of work to do. And but my wife would be like, you got to slow down.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Do you listen?
I don't.
I don't. Same club.
And it'll drain you even more.
Yeah.
So when me and my wife, we have opportunities just to get out, maybe an hour, 30 minutes, ice cream date, something like that. That's my recharge.
Gotcha.
Because as soon as I finish an event today, I already started on the event for tomorrow. Yeah. Yesterday.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
What I would suggest is that we're gonna put all your information in the link below, so we'll make sure that people have information related to the Autism Crust Festival in your nonprofit. You're starting something. I want to lighten it up just a bit. You're starting something really interesting with your wife. I don't believe I'm a big fan. I'm a partner with you guys. We're the Parkers.
Right.
Talk about that, man. Because I think that might be part of your recharge, man. It just looks fun. The dynamic between your wife is cool. As long as y'all keep it fun, right? Because I messed that up before trying to structure it too much. But we're the Parkers. What's that about?
Man, me and my wife, we don't even operate inside the boxes. Neither one of us does, man. And we do so much for so many people. I was like, okay, I just want to do something for us, but share it, right?
Yeah.
So like we was talking about, we bring it back down to the dinner table, and people love to eat. I love to eat.
Facts. This is true.
My wife is a more adventurous one than I am. So I'm like, okay, babe, we can do something fun together that we can help, we can educate, we can have fun, we can laugh, and we can have some serious moments and stuff like that. But let's do it from a married point of view. Let's do something for us.
Yeah.
And man, my wife is dope, bruh. Real talk, man. I can't even lie. She is dope, man. And we're the Parkers, man. We're gonna be rating food. We're gonna be tasting food, rating food, food trucks, restaurants. We're gonna have fun though. We're gonna be having like little challenges. Like I don't ride roller coasters. Man.
Bro.
I rode the roller coaster at, remember when at Buckrow Beach they had the wood roller coaster, and that's my age.
Yeah. You're telling on yourself.
Right, and I told God, I said, man, if you get me off this thing, I ain't gonna never go on a roller coaster again. I never got on one.
Yeah. So I'm giving you a little grief, but I don't ride roller coasters anymore. I used to ride them, but the way sciatica set up, and then the surgery I had this summer, that's completely off the list, man.
Right.
But just having fun with your wife, man, that's so important. It's so important for your sons to see that, man.
Right.
Healthy marriage is actually dope, right? That's not just
healthy marriage is dope.
All marriage isn't dope. Right. Every part of marriage isn't dope.
Right.
When it's healthy, you have a dialogue, and you have a mechanism to work through stuff. Greatest thing since sliced bread, man. That's just
it is, man. Though. I know, like Like I come home or something and my wife having a bad day. I'm like, man, let's go get something to eat.
That's the fix.
Right. We go sit down, just me and her.
Yeah.
We go sit down. We only got to talk. We just got to be in each other's presence. But
That's
we
big.
talk, but.
No, that's big.
Yeah.
Being present.
Just, right.
Yeah.
Just be in each other's presence, man. And we do it a lot. She'll treat me, I treat her. We go down like ice cream dates. You know what I'm saying? Ice cream date ain't nothing but like 10 minutes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But that's a great 10 minutes.
Maximize the time, man.
Right. And see, that's what we're doing with We're the Parkers. We're going to do it from a marriage standpoint. Because healthy marriage is dope. It's dope.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, you think about it. It's that name is a testimony within itself.
Bro, that's how I was born. Saying?
Right.
That's how I was born. Because I got to the point, and quick aside, I realized, COVID helped me realize that I was mischaracterizing my relationship with my wife. Right. I was saying the right things. I figured some things out. I wasn't foolish anymore, but I was just it was real shallow, surface things, right? The things you're supposed to say. And I used to travel a lot before COVID with work. We lived overseas and we moved back. I was still traveling a lot. And I realized that I was always looking forward to travel because I could get away from whatever was annoying me.
Right.
And if I can get away, I'd come back less annoyed and we still wouldn't talk about it. And then I count that as a win. Like, I'm no longer annoyed, but we never actually got any resolve. Right. But through COVID, slowing down, being really in the house with each other, I realized I like my family.
Right.
I like my wife. The love was always there. That wasn't unquestioned.
Right.
I like my wife. So now we can have healthy conversations. We can get through stuff. It doesn't mean we don't have disagreements. It means we found some tools to help. And we ain't got it perfect. But I was like, yo, healthy marriage is dope. Like when it's healthy, yes. Right? Just like when you're healthy playing football, that's dope. If you're injured, it's probably not so dope, right? It's not a great experience.
Right.
But man, I don't know. That's quick aside, but that's just the growth. That's the point of growth that I'm at, man. It sounds like you're there or a little bit further, a lot further than that, man. So I appreciate people that advocate for it because I think we need to see that in our community. We advocate for everything else. Right. And advocate is a bad word for saying everything else, but we celebrate everything else, no matter how shallow it may be, but celebrating real relationships and growth. Right. Big fan of that. Trey, I've been trying not to call you Trey the whole time. really trying not to call you Trey the whole time. Yeah. Conversation, man, has been very enlightening. I hope it won't be our last on the podcast. I know we're going to continue to talk. We'll continue to support each other's projects. But I like to end the show with the section I call Father to Father. It's where I seek advice from my conversation counterpart, right? Because this is not an interview. After I introduce you, no longer guest, even if I didn't know you, but we're just having these conversations. So I want you to think about that, but I'm gonna ask you why you think about that. I'm asking you to multitask, right? Because you said you could do that. Right. What does the next chapter look like if you're writing? I thought about asking, at the end of it all, what is it? You're so far from the end of it, like what you have to do and what you want to build. Right. What is that next step, that next goal, that next milestone? What does that look like for you?
Happiness, man.
Okay.
Self-happiness.
Okay.
Because I've been missing that for so long.
Yeah.
And when I can achieve that full self-happiness, and it's not just about making other people happy. Sometimes you got to make yourself happy.
Yeah.
That's when I can probably relax. You know what I mean? But until then, I won't relax. You know what I mean?
You know what I think is going to happen with you when you hit that level? And I trust that you're working intentionally to get to that level. Right. It's going to unlock so much more potential than you even realize because that burden is lifted.
Right.
And I haven't completely gotten there, but I'm slowly letting things go. Like, you know what? Right. Now this is an excuse that I'm putting on myself and it's holding me back. But as I start to release these things and not care, as long as it's not hurting my family, not hurting my, it's not disrespectful to my wife and my family name. Man, we trying it, bro. I mean, life is to be lived. And I've been in the rhythm. I've been, my job was my identity, and I was identifying, I was calling success all the wrong things.
Right.
But as I'm starting to, grow up a little bit, man, life is getting fun. And I hadn't been fun in a while. If you ask my kids, I'm probably still not as fun as they want me to be. But man, make sure that you're intentional about getting to that place, man. Cause if you thought you was on one right now, and then I'm going to replay this. I'm going to send you this clip. Like, bro, I told you. I told you. Before you get to the moon, I'm going to send you that clip, man. But again, I appreciate you, man. I just want that, you got sons that are older than mine. We talk about life on this podcast, but it's reflective of, your journey as a son into fatherhood or to manhood and how all of that impacts you. But I'm selfish. So at the end, I like to get some game on.
Right.
My son is 14. I have another son that's 6. He'll be 7 soon.
Right.
What advice would you give me having, like, you're up the block a few years with your experience? What advice would you offer me as a father today?
I say keep being you, bruh. You made a statement a little while ago when you was talking about how you was traveling to get away, and you use your job as your excuse. Mm-hmm. I used to do that. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And lost my family. Mm-hmm. And when I got an opportunity to get my family back, I ran with it.
Yeah. Thank God.
You know what I mean? And even when you're having the bad times, right? Keep the love there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And every chance you get to hug your son, even when he's 22, I still hug him, man. I sneak a kiss on my son's cheek. I mean, embarrass them with that love.
Yeah.
Because what they're going to do is going to carry over to your grandkids in the future. And then what it's going to do,
so you
and it's going to have it's going to have your grandkids looking at you like this, and it's going to have your son sitting back smiling because he's proud of the man that you are and who his son's grandfather is. Because those two different people.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
I already know what one of the topics is going to be next time we talk, man. That's sound advice, man. I appreciate it, and this is not just a segment for the sake of having a segment. I really take it to heart, man. And I appreciate that coming from you. I trust it coming from you. And though we're not blood, man, I'm proud of you, man. I have been for a long time. You always been, a great friend turned into a brother. We won't have to talk every day, but when we lock in, it's like nothing ever changed, man. Like what was the magazine? Truth magazine?
Yeah, man.
Remember them days, but you always been a dreamer. I always admired that about you. When you believe in something, it's clear and you don't really waver, man. So I hope you continue with that. Right. For the listening audience, thank you for taking this journey with us, this conversation. Hopefully you pull something from it. I know I have, and I'll watch it back several times to just pull out, some of the gems and some of the lessons. If you're listening on audio, please follow on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. If you're on YouTube, hey, what's up? You got the visual experience. Please make sure that you're subscribed. If you haven't done that, do that now. Leave a comment if you haven't done it already. All of that stuff matters. It helps creators. And I appreciate that from my listening family. Any closing words, Tracey? Tracy, not Trey.
Right. Man, I love you, bro.
I love you too, man. I really mean that.
Man. And I love everything that you're doing. I definitely appreciate the healthy marriage is dope. I mean, that's like, it rings volume in my house, man.
Yeah.
And ever since I saw it, I've been on it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been on it. I've been talking about it. Me and my wife talk about it. Just keep doing what you're doing, man, because you created something, you and your queen created something that can help a lot of people.
Hope so.
And I say, man, just keep doing it, man. Keep feeding into it, because like you say, I see something bigger than I think you even see.
I appreciate it.
You know
I
what I
received
mean?
that.
I see it, bro. I see it. You got something there. You got something very, as you would say, beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it came out of your hearts, man. And like I said, once again, man, I tell you that I love you, man. I mean it. I don't say it.
Yeah.
I don't say this to anybody. I only say it when I mean it.
Sure.
And I definitely appreciate you, man.
Likewise, man. We can't end it any better than that. I appreciate you guys. God bless you. Peace.
The Dear Son podcast is produced by D. John's Live Studios. All rights reserved. We'll see you here next time.